But that's a great demonstration. You
Yeah.
can pursue your ideas and develop things without going, well, I do that, but I can't afford it. I do that, but I've got to hire a bunch of people.
Right.
I do that, but I got to find the technology. You don't have those issues anymore.
So you're getting at it. Thank you for helping me drill down. So you look at, for example, the mindset that it takes, if you want to use that overused word, to become a billionaire. Once you've achieved that, where does your mind go, right?
Right. What motivates you then?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the reason I was bringing up Bezos as an example, and you clarified it for me. I mean, okay, why? What the hell? Let's go to space. I mean, exactly.
I know.
It's not.
And maybe I'll take a few of my friends to space.
And it's funny too. I have to say the generation. So Glenn is 54 or 55, and if you look at, for example, how the baby boomers were when they became really, really fabulously, famously wealthy, they all sort of tried to basically become 1970s style rock stars,
right?
And they all wanted to make it about themselves. And we can just focus on real estate for that matter. If you look at, for example, just all the real estate leaders that Julie and I grew up with, who were all a generation older than us, or maybe even more than that. These baby boomers, Dave Leniger was flying competitively, hot air balloons and all these other, big ego. It's something something in the baby boomer generation that made it so that they thought that once they reached a certain level of success, that they had to sort of become these parodies, these almost like, rich guy type things. Whereas Generation X, our generation and Glenn's generation, we're not like that.
No.
We're way more subdued.
And why is that? Is that because marketers have ignored us because we're such a tiny generation and we didn't have that impetus to have that kind of, show? Is that because we've all come of age before the advent of things like TikTok, like our generation under us? I don't know why that is. I think it's interesting. I think you're right about that, is that you don't see a lot of, 45 to 55, 60-year-olds having that same kind of
not
flash.
60s definitely baby boomers,
yeah.
but people in their baby boomer starts to tick off when you basically cross about late 50s. But I think the real reason, if you want to know the truth, is because being wealthy, being a millionaire, being a decamillionaire, having 100 millions, having a billion, it's not, and I know this sounds insane, but it's really not that rare anymore. And back when a lot of these guys were coming up, the previous generation, it was rare. There were no. I remember this is.
Well, it's because it's all pre-tech company. I think there probably was less.
Well, it's also inflation too.
Sure.
So I mean, it's also all these things factor into it. But back when there didn't used to be so many billionaires. We publish reports on our website talking about the number of billionaires in the world, and there are just a ton of them. And there's more billionaires getting formed, every year. But look, I know these thoughts and these experience, what we're sharing with you guys sounds almost unobtainable, but that goes back to my original point. I mean, remember Glenn, if I'm remembering history correctly, and I'm going to hopefully talk about this with him today, was not in the best of financial ways, less than 15 years ago. And the reality of it is now he's a billionaire. So that to me tells me that all of you and all of us, if we chose to, could also create something else that delivers value. And let's just, address this from a populist perspective, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people think that there's an unjust distribution of wealth in the world, and we're not going to talk about that. But here's what I am going to talk about. Look what Glenn has done. Look at the goodwill he's done in the world. And I'm not even just like an opaque way, in a very overt way. Look what he's done for so many other people. And as a result of him being of service to so many other people, that's the reason that he's basically been able to become a billionaire. And I'm talking about creating opportunity for all the 59,000, soon to be 100,000, soon to be 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 million agents that are associated with EXP globally. Look what the opportunity he created for himself. Now, I do remember this very distinctly from an interview I watched with him, and I hopefully will remember this today. As he said, there's two things agents don't do well: save money for retirement and pay their taxes. Mm-hmm. And he said he wanted to create basically a foolproof system that essentially covered agents for their, obviously their preordained deficiencies, right?
Yeah, which I think is amazing and
yes.
absolutely